think that the motor was what controlled the ship, but the little small rudder in the ship is what controls the speed and the direction of the huge ship when they direct and drive on the ship when it's directed in the water. That was something that was also interesting to me, thinking about that. And so we look at that compared to like our tongue being something that's small, a small part of our body, comparing that to actually, you know, the small bit and the small piece of the rudder on the ship. That was interesting, being small pieces and looking how those small pieces are something that have great power as well as our tongue.
Yeah, I'm going to add right here too that a lot of times, based on the two examples that that James gives, that you are sharing with us, the thing that I think is important is that we understand that tongue or that small bit or that small rudder drives the direction of the bigger object it's controlling. And so sometimes we tell people, you know, maybe you missed your season or you missed your door or you missed an opportunity. Maybe it was something you said that changed the direction of where you should have been heading. And the whole of our faith is by confession, right? Everything that we do in the spiritual realm or the kingdom of God kind of extends from our confession, what we say. And so we always talk about how our words, our spirit, they are life, they have power, constructive power. I want you to consider and continue to think that as you say things, maybe you're changing the direction of where you're heading. I think sometimes people have missed opportunities and missed moments by way of saying things that they probably should not have said, or were, to your point, not as mature before they said it. And on the backside, thinking about it, realize, okay, maybe my mouth closed the door that God really had opened for me.
So just as the horse is controlled with the bit and the ship with the rudder, our tongues are controlled by our emotions, or even in a joking manner. We will say things with our tongues that we may not think is small, just as these two objects, the bit and the rudder. But we should consider Proverbs 26:18 and 19. Like a madman who throws firebrands, arrows, and death is the man who deceives his neighbor and says, I was only joking. So we must be aware of the destructive power of our words. So we should consider how we use our words, consider how our words affect those around us and those that we speak to. We should consider how our emotions are used when we say things, and consider how our words affect other people. Sometimes we say things and we say we're only joking, but it may be a joke to us, but it may not be a joke to the other person. So we have to be in control of what our tongue says and pay attention to how it affects those other people that we speak to. So then James compares the tongue to a forest fire. It starts out small, but can burn down the whole forest. I'm not sure if everybody hears about the fires in like California, how they start out, and it starts out as in a small area, but then it burns down like the whole area. Not sure if everybody knows, like I work for an insurance company with USAA. And a lot of people call where their houses have burnt down in California area, and it started down with something small, but then it ends up burning whole areas down. And that always starts out small, and then we get several different calls from several different people in the same area. And it always starts out as a little small something. One person calls, and then we have 2 and 3 people call, and then it's 4 and 5 people call, and then you got 10 and 20 people calling. But that's how your tongue starts out. It starts out burning down one person, and then you start taking down this person and that person with the words that's used in your mouth. So you got to be careful on how you use the words in your mouth. And so then we have here I know we all have heard of the saying, sticks and stones may break your bones, but words may never hurt. I don't know about all of you, but I have broken a few bones in my body before, and the bones have healed well, but some of those words that people have used at me, I'm still working on those healing. You know, I still have some issues with words that have been said by people, you know, praying that God helps me heal those words, because some of those things that have been said still linger within my mind from time to time on if those things are true or not, or if those things are real on the things that they've said. So we have to be careful when we use the things that we use with our tongue. We even have here where with Peter, if we think about with Peter, where even the words that he said, the words that he threw out, where at first he was confessing Jesus was Messiah, and then later on he was denying Jesus 3 times with his tongue. Proverbs 18:21 tells us that death and life are in the power of the tongue, and those who love it will eat its fruit. We have Matthew 12:34, brood of vipers, how can you speak good things when you are evil? For the mouth speaks from the overflow of the heart. As you can see, this isn't telling us not to speak, but to speak life, to be positive. Proverbs 16:24, speak words, tells us pleasant words are like honeycombs, sweetness to the soul and health to the bones. James then gives the allusion from Genesis 1:26.